listening to Wake Up Hollywood with Nikki Korula and Eddie Pence, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Wake Up Hollywood. This is your host with the most, Nikki Korula. We're going to jump right into this episode. We have director extraordinaire Snehal Patel. How are you, Snehal?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
I love your shirt, by the way. What is the shirt?
Oh, I got this in Vegas when I was at a trade show once. So
it's awesome. It looks
like it.
Almost like anime-ish. It looks like comic book-ish.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Very visual.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. So Snehal, you are a director. I've seen a bunch of your stuff. I'm a fan. But
Thanks.
You started, when was the moment of Zen that made you want to become a director? Or maybe let's go back even further. What was the moment of Zen that made you fall in love with movies?
I think it was going to the theater as a kid. Definitely solidified that. And then also traveling and then going overseas and going to a movie theater overseas as well to get a different experience.
Do you remember what the first movie was that you saw here and there?
It's so funny. One of the first movies that I saw here that I remember watching is Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
In the theaters.
Yeah. I saw that in the theater too. I remember that feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Jurassic Park, of course, when I saw that in the theater, left a big impression. But I liked Aliens. I didn't see the first movie in the theater, but the second one I did, the James Cameron one.
Oh, yeah.
Which made a big impact on me wanting to make movies, was stuff like that. Indiana Jones, in the heyday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And stuff. And even the gangster films, like early on, because my dad was into James Bond. So I kind of like spy stuff. And then the gangster movies really solidified, I think in high school.
Your James Bond must have been Roger Moore, because that's what mine was.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was Roger Moore. And then no, Timothy Dalton as well.
Timothy Dalton, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But our dads loved Sean Connery. So I think that's
Sean Connery.
That was their 007. So and I still need to watch all of those. I've seen a couple. But yeah, man.
Those are the cheesiest James Bonds ever.
You've seen them all? I've seen a couple.
I've seen them all.
Wow, I've
seen all of
them.
It
is cheesy. Yeah.
Super cheesy. Yeah. It's now the franchise is more action focused, but it was quite uneven before, and there's a lot of comedy, a lot of weird jokes and risque jokes and funny stuff.
And what was the first movie you saw overseas? I assume India, or was it?
Yeah, I was in India. The funny thing was I saw a movie in the theater over there, which was like a local theater. It was a completely different experience than going to the theater over here at the time. It was like a small little town, or Gam, we call it. And they had a small theater there, maybe 200-seat theater. Wow. And wooden seats. And people dancing and singing along with the
See, I've never been to a movie in India, so this is cool.
Yeah. I mean, now when I go, you go to Mumbai and they have multiplexes and it looks exactly like over here. It doesn't look any different. But back then, certainly it had its own flavor. There were, like I said, wooden seats, audience participation, and the, really bad sound. But, everything played with, it was projected with film. So it still looked really great. But the first movie I remember watching was on TV over there. Beastmaster. Do you remember Beastmaster, the original movie?
Oh yeah, man. That's like early 80s. That's like 84, 85. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing that over there when I was traveling, because a lot of my family members actually, when I was very young, when I was, let's say 6, 7, 8 years old, and we're going overseas, not everyone had TVs or big TVs, right, big televisions, but I had an uncle that had a TV business. They sold television and satellite TV installations. So they had television and they had every channel, and it was great. So that's where I first saw Beastmaster, was overseas, which was so funny.
I
But it
used to
left
go
a
to
mark on me.
I used to go to India in the summers. I remember one summer Die Hard was out in
Yeah.
theaters here, and they already had it on video over there. So we
Oh,
watched
I'm
Die
sure.
Hard on video, and I was like, "How is this even a thing? This is crazy." So like, it was obviously the black market. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't somebody with a camcorder taking it though. It was like a
No.
legit copy. So I was like so confused. I'm like, how is this movie out on video and it's out in theaters? In the U.S. Like, this is crazy, but. That's when you realize there are two different markets in this,
Yeah, yeah. There's a huge black market, especially up until when, and this was predictable actually, until video on demand took over.
Right.
Now that set-top boxes are around and all the TVs have their built-in apps and everyone has streaming services over there, the black market is kind of really taken a hit, or the good market for media. But yeah, back in the day, I was living there, for my late 20s.
Yeah, that's what I saw that on your bio. Like, you lived 7, 8 years. You lived over there, right?
4.5, yeah, so
Okay.
almost 5 years, yeah. And we used to be able to go to the train station and get VCDs, which are basically
crazy.
video CDs. It's like
Right.
a lower quality version than a DVD, but it's cheap because it's made on CD-ROM media, and you can get any movie you wanted. So there's a huge market that was run by like Pakistan and India of all this, when films went to the theaters, they got captured right away and distributed really quickly. So you couldn't make a lot of money, sorry, as a
Right.
filmmaker. Like you in India, you only had 2 weeks.
Right.
Now that's the case in the US now. It
Right.
didn't used to be. Like if you spent like $100 million on to make a movie in the US, you wanted to get 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, as many as you could. But the way movies are turned out now, and audiences kind of waning tastes and stuff like that, you're lucky to get a couple of weeks in the theater. So it's more like India's market now has
I
come
know.
over
Do
here.
you think that's because of the attention span or just the market and how fast people are just churning stuff out?
Well, the attention span in the sense that there's less people going to the theaters.
Right. Right.
The
Yeah,
pandemic
the whole like
put a
long
hit on
slow
that.
burn of a movie. It's crazy to see that. You see it with a couple movies, but generally it's like 2 weeks, and then there's something new that's already being promoted or pitched. And then you have so much TV too to compete with. So we'll talk a little bit about that first. But you came back to the U.S. and then you attended film school in Chicago. Where did you go to film school?
Oh no, I started in film school.
Okay.
I worked as a producer. In fact, even before that, in high school, I was in a TV program when I was a senior. So we had a TV station at our school, which was essentially a transmitter set up for cable, for local access cable.
We had the same. It was the best though. Did you have programming every day? I think we only had it twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right. We had programming every once in a while, but we certainly had chyrons and graphics all the time. And in fact, we were using an Amiga for that, to doing the graphics. And then that was daily, like what the lunch is, and one of our teachers used to take care of that. But basically, like what the lunch program is, and what if it's a snow day or not, or it would have like graphics so someone could tune in. But then we would create content, right? So we would create episodes, and I tried all kinds of stuff, interview stuff with cheerleaders, Then I had friends of mine do like a news type of show, broadcast.
We had a news show that was really awesome.
And then we just did, I liked doing music videos, which was, we did two things. One, we remixed anime that we liked and created music videos from songs that were popular at the time that we were into, and then mix it with anime that we liked. And at that time, we were big into anime. Like this was like senior year in high school, right? And then from there we went to college. So the anime thing, like it was new for us, but we had it tough. We had it really tough. We had to like find VHS tapes of fan-made, dubbed or subtitled stuff to watch it, right?
Struggle is real, man.
Right? Or we had to go to like certain shops that imported Japanese stuff. And back then it wasn't like today where
Right.
there's tons of stores everywhere that has Japanese, anime toys and stuff like that. That was very rare. When
Well,
I
you
was
know
a
what? What's cool about this? Let's make a little segue because you recently did an AI music video
Yeah,
called Janaka Selecta. Did I say that right?
that's the singer. That's the
Oh, that's
musician.
okay. Cool. Well,
So it's
it's
called Pia. Yeah, the track
Pia.
is called
Okay.
Pia.
Well, let's play this because let's show people how far you've come because this is
Okay,
amazing. Here's and it's called Pia, correct?
correct.
Janaka
The
Selecta Pia.
DMB.
So cool, man. Amazing. Let's talk about this because what an innovative way to shoot this music video. You took this really cool approach. You were using AI and you were using kind of real people and some animation stuff. Tell me kind of like what the process was and what you went
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, definitely a lot of different technologies used to put this together. Primarily, we shot on a LED wall, which requires a lot of content to be created ahead of time. So this is like doing visual effects backwards. So that process takes a lot of time, and either you have to have a lot of money or you have to have a lot of time to do it
Right.
with the limited team. So the idea is to really be efficient, and then our
And for people that don't know
conceptualization.
what that is, isn't that kind of how they shot Mandalorian? That they had a huge room and they projected the entire environment onto the room. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, and they spent over a year creating that environment
Wow.
for the Mandalorian TV show for the first season that they did it. Actually, it was more than a year. So it takes time to create the content because you now what you're doing is replacing green screen. The idea of green screen, you're just having the spaceship there as a prop that's behind you, for example. So then now you can place your characters in it and you can do different angles because everything's run by 3D game engines. So you can change camera angles and stuff still looks correct because the objects on the wall are not 2D. They're not photographs. They're
Right.
actual 3D objects. So you can reposition, you can reframe, you could use different lenses, and everything looks correct in perspective. And that's what helps to achieve the look that you are looking for. It's pretty advanced technology. It's a lot of different things working together. So it's a complicated process, and it definitely took time to learn it and to
So
figure
that
it
means
out.
there has to be like a prop that is, let's say it's a spaceship, like you said.
Yes.
So does there have to be like a model spaceship kind of design that you can
Yeah.
put the LED on? So it has to be spec, there has to be some kind of statue or sculpture there that is a representation of the object, correct?
You mean like if you want to have a spaceship that's in a scene with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
right? So let's say you're inside a ship, right? Then you have to have that 3D interior built already. All the
Wow.
details put in. You can't go back in and fix stuff. Otherwise, that's just doing visual effects. So if you
Right.
want to record the effect in camera, the way to do it is to, create the content ahead of time. That's the most efficient way.
Crazy.
So when you're on set, you mix everything together. You have foreground objects, you have props. You can even add AR objects. I could add like a layer of video in front as well to enhance it. So like I could add things, and there's more and more developing. A lot of this runs on game engines, like we used Unreal Engine. You could also use Unity as a basis for operating. But these stages, with these LED stages, they range from large to small or small to large, and
Right.
they have a variety of different equipment that they need to keep everything running. A lot of computational power, and it's expensive, and it's not a cheap thing to do. So it was a learning experience. I had some help from some great manufacturers that pitched in and made it possible. In return, we did a whole video series on TikTok talking about how we did everything. So if
Oh,
anybody
that's
wants to
cool.
learn,
I've seen a
just
lot of
look,
those.
yeah, just look for the Fearless Productions TV, TikTok or Instagram, and there's a whole series of videos. But we also did 3D capture of a couple of our characters to turn them into 3D objects that we can use in the video itself. So the girl that's dancing, that's a hologram, that's actually one of our actresses dancing. And
Wow.
then we captured it as a 3D object. We can place it anywhere we want in the world, any size we want. Even inside the little spaceship, there's a little character moving around. And that's actually, we captured that in 3D, that performance. And then we're able to use them as 3D objects that are animated in the Unreal Engine and then output, VFX shots from that as well. So it's a pretty powerful tool to be able to put that together. And the AI factor is we worked really hard, or we tried many different ways to help or to use AI to help us create the content, right, for
Right.
the 3D world. That's the biggest trick if you can do that. Now, that's not easy to do. It's still not
Yeah, because the
readily
prompts, I'm
available.
sure I mean, it's weird to do the prompts for any of that, right? Or are you not using prompts? You're just using.
Even if you use prompts, or even if you take 2D photographs and then make them into 3D objects, right now the power is not there yet. where it can really give you an accurate model that can hold up in an environment with lighting effects and textures and things like that. So there's a lot of limitations. There are certain things you can do. Now, where it did help us was the ideation. Because we were doing a cyberpunk with an Indian twist, we can kind of conceptualize the world ahead of time. AI
Right.
prompt us to create images. So using Midjourney, I was able to work with a friend of mine that's like a prompt expert, prompt guru, and we were able to generate a bunch of stuff that we were able to use for the concept art, for the storyboard artists as references, for props and costumes for references of what kind of stuff we're looking for. Certainly, when we're creating the 3D worlds, we were able to find kit bash items and put them together in a different way than what they were intended to create, like cyberpunk type of background, but with like slums and things like that as well. So we mixed a lot of things together based on kind of the photographs that we were able to generate through Midjourney. It really helped us out. It was like a basis. So I created a lookbook from that, and then that's what I made sure our heads of departments had that, so that they can reference that and use it to create stuff from.
So how much was it for as far as the props, like outside of costumes? What were the real kind of props versus what were digitally enhanced?
Well, the motorcycle is real, and the gun is real. The weapons are real, and then of course the costumes, what they're wearing, and everything like that. And then that's it. A few crates to add to flavor in the alleyway scenes, and some fake flowers. And that's about it.
Crazy. That's so wild. Yeah. And it was such a colorful video, and what an innovative way to kind of shoot this. What made you kind of want to take that approach? Is it because you wanted to embrace the technology and kind of do something that was different, or was it something kind of like showing people like how to mix both kind of mediums in a way that could be accessible? What was the approach and inspiration behind it?
And I wanted to show people that it's possible with limited background and doing this stuff, because a lot of directors and producers are kind of afraid to embrace the technology. And there was a lot of investment by a lot of companies that kind of didn't hold up last year after the strikes. And a lot of people had invested in really expensive LED stages and stuff like that, and technologies and LED walls, camera tracking, which is very much key to all this. And then it wasn't paying off. And it was because a lot of people were afraid to use the tech for things that they didn't maybe imagine it could be used for. So of course we could use it for sci-fi or something fantastical, but really like the key to it is the realism too, right? Being able to shoot at a location all day at magic hour, for example, stuff like that, or using this technology to replace the photorealistic backgrounds that you use on TV sets, having LED back there instead, a smaller version maybe that you place in the scene, and then you can use the tech quickly because it's getting more affordable and easier to use, to create a more dynamic, outdoors for the window sequences and stuff like that. There's all kinds of different uses for it, and certainly it's trying to find its footing. But what I wanted to do as a director is prove that I could learn it and do it and pull off a job with it. Because like that's what you have to do as a filmmaker, right? Is like you always have to take the impossible challenge and then see if you can do it. And then also I wanted to educate. Like I want to become relevant in the educational aspect of it. So I certainly did the whole TikTok series, Instagram videos and everything for like 8 months, talking about the process from start to finish.
That is not really easy. There's a lot of patience that goes into that. I know that. and it's not only creative, but you're talking about the creative process, but it's doing something. So it's helping the creative, world on so many levels,
Yeah, it serves the community. And then so the next step is that I'll put a workshop together, which I'm working on announcing when I go to NAB in a couple of weeks. It's a big conference in Vegas for film equipment and stuff like that and technologies. And we'll announce a workshop because I'm a speaker there. We'll talk about doing a workshop for directors in LA. And so this will be like, for DGA members or PGA members, people that really want to just demystify what it is. And this will be a quick, easy workshop in one day that will really just explain to you the start to finish what you have to expect, when you're doing this, what you have to prepare for, what the steps are, and the basics, of how to do this. And it's not difficult to actually understand. It's really a new form of rear projection technology. So, I think that filmmakers can wake up to it and start using it. And it's exciting. And now, looking back, I'm like, oh, I want to do like 50 more different things with it now. And I want to do much more complicated stuff with it now.
And it's changing so fast too, like month to month
Yeah.
almost. You're going to be able to advance the medium. So it's cool because the technology is moving so fast in that direction. So it's going to be cool to see what happens a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, let alone 6 months as well, because it's all going to be just it's like learning itself, on some level, and then having people learn it too. You have a lot of great stuff. So I want to showcase another one of your works. This is one of my favorite things that I've seen you do. This is called The Floor is Lava. We're going to play this right now.
This, by the way, I'm the producer on this, and the director's Clint.
Okay, cool.
Clinton Jones.
Your hands in many pots. I love it.
Yeah.
Here's The Floor is Lava.
Nice.
Dude, what the hell, man? Yo, be careful, be careful! What the hell is this, man? The floor's lava! Really? Let's go! Alright, just pass me my phone. Where is it? On the dresser! Calm down.
Oh, what up, son?
Oh my god, Brett! I can't climb that. Alright, guys. Alright, help me out. I can't get across. There is no time. Come on, Brett. You're leaving me.
Maybe if you came to Zumba more often, you wouldn't be such dead weight.
Dead weight! I literally just saved your life. You'd be sleeping in lava if it wasn't for me.
Dude, I'd rather be sleeping in love than spending time with you.
Why don't you just move out? Move out? Hey,
whoa.
This is my place. You move out.
Come on back here. Come on back here. I tell you. Yeah, come on. Guys! Listen, I get it. We're all scared. Okay, and the only way we're gonna get through this is as friends together. What do you say? Hip hip!
Hooray.
Come on, guys! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip!
Hooray.
Roommates through and through! That's right, guys! Roommates right and through! Hip hip!
Carl! We need to get to the attic!
lend me a hand, yeah? I got you, bro.
Thank you, son.
You got it, man.
You go first. Okay, you're next.
Give me your head.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna swing up.
I got you.
I'm not gonna make it.
I got you.
Carl, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being a bad roommate.
Do this later.
You're an amazing man and an incredible roommate, even if you never clean the bathroom.
Oh.
Anyways, it's been nice knowing you. I hope you find a better roommate. Quinn! No! Quinn! Hey! It's 3 in the morning and I have to be up at 7! Just like living with a bunch of kids. Night, Brad.
Good night, Casey. Night, Casey.
No!
So good. I love that you're also wearing the producer hat. Tell me how that changes your day to day, and just so people know what a producer does when it comes to something like this. Tell me what that was like.
Yeah, in this case, I was the executive producer, so I actually greenlit the script.
That's cool.
So this was produced by Rocket Jump, and Clinton Jones did some projects with Freddie W. At Rocket Jump, and Freddie and I wanted to work together because I've known him since they started doing this stuff back in the day, because I was teaching DSLR workshops back in 2009, 2008, 2009 on how to use the 5D for filmmaking, and they took one of my workshops. So before, that's when they first formed Rocket Jump. And Freddie liked Clinton and had a few pitches or scripts ready from different directors and put it across to me. I was at Zeiss at the time, and we wanted to showcase lens metadata technology. So, I was able to pick a script and fund it, give it some money, and I'll actually help out with some technical aspects, arranged, lighting and stuff like that for them, lenses. And then we did a workflow for the visual effects to make it a little bit faster for them to work.
Yeah,
but
I love that perspective too, because you were working for a lens company that was renting out lenses to all the biggest filmmakers. So you kind of really have your finger on the pulse as to like what the newest technologies are for the cameras too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's awesome.
I still participate, even though I don't work for a manufacturer currently. I still participate in camera and lens metadata standardization for visual effects and for virtual production. So I'm a committee member, and I lead a committee for SMPTE. And SMPTE is responsible for DVD and MPEG and a whole bunch of other standards for television, film, and all kinds of different ways that we get devices and data to work together. But certainly I had a lot of interest. But this was really an exercise in picking the right story. And this is really important as a filmmaker, is being able to look at a script and go, yes, this will work or this won't work. Can I visualize this? Do I feel it? You know, do I feel the emotion? I had to laugh, right? Like this.
So
This is a
good.
comedy, and Rocket Jump is known for comedy with visual effects. That was their whole YouTube channel. That was the thing that they did, and certainly, you know, they wanted to make something cool. So when they pitched a few different projects, you know, I chose this one out of the lot, and I just really liked the writing. And then I was able to meet Clinton, the director, Clinton Jones, help him out a bit from my end. But certainly, you know, that guy was formidable, had a great little team put together, and worked closely with the others at Rocket Jump to create a fantastic final product. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was so
really
cool.
well done. It's really well done.
Your website, I think, is fearlessproductions.tv. Isn't that right?
Right, that's my website. Yeah,
So
you can see it there.
Such a like a wide array of projects, which is super cool. I'm going to give you the choice. What do you want to play? We have It's About Time and Krishna's Quest. Which one do you want to play?
I think Krishna's Quest, because Krishna's Quest is interesting. It's an ad for. It was meant to be an ad for a product, but it's actually a piece of a sci-fi film. The whole idea is to show these lenses being used in a way that is very normal for television and film, because you know, we wanted just to showcase the technology, but we wanted to make a high quality production. So I took a piece of a feature film that I have and decided to just make a few minutes of it. So it's in the middle of the story.
Well, by the way, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very, very picturesque. Well, let's watch this. Here's Krishna's Quest.
I think this is it.
Are you sure? This place doesn't look that familiar.
Well, this is the location approximately. The light here changes quickly, so it probably looks different than last time.
Approximately. I thought that tracker would be more accurate.
Look for the marker.
Looks like the brush is covering it up.
Okay, I was able to trigger the finder. Do you see a blinking light?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Hey, wait up. Are you okay?
Yeah. Thanks.
Which way is north?
That way.
So cool. I got to tell you too, it was kind of, I watched this last night. I'm like, oh, this is kind of a love letter to Return of the Jedi and Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
I totally got the like innuendos. I was like, oh, this is so cool. It just looks
awesome.
cool, and it's got like really cool subject matter. Tell me what the inspiration kind of like was behind it and the shots, and just like how you kind of like, what were some obstacles that while shooting it? Tell me like what was the process like for you?
Well, as a writer that also wants to direct, my own material, you always wonder, like, am I writing something that actually can be directed, right? And I have a penchant for, suspense, as you saw, thrillers, sci-fi, action. I like that kind of stuff. I don't like stuff about identity or family dramas. That's not my thing. So
Right.
certainly, that stuff is complicated to write action and then direct it so that it actually makes sense. So now watching Christmas Quest again with you and knowing what the bigger picture is, I have a bigger movie in mind. It's cool because you can see something encapsulated here. You can see tension between two people. There's suspense. Like, is he gonna like kick her, kill her
Right.
with the so I'm all like, what's gonna happen here? What's going on? Obviously, they're not together because they want to be, right? And that's obvious. It's obvious that they're looking for something. It's obvious that there's something planted already and someone's already been here or left a marker, and that she's clever. She's smarter than she's putting on, like all these things you see taking place. And that only happens if you can really work with great actors that can take your script and then really make it something. But you got to have that blueprint. So I think what's successful here is having the blueprint of the scenes made sense and it still worked, even though you don't know what the rest of the movie is. You still see something and it makes sense to you.
And how many cameras did you use for this? Was it two,
just
three?
one.
Oh wow! All handheld or what?
No, we had Steadicam. We had tripod handheld. We were in the middle of the forest, so this is the same forest where they shot, I think, Obi-Wan or one of the other Star Wars shows.
That's
so
awesome.
they were double for Endor or something like that. I forgot which show it was, but yes,
I got that as soon as I saw the first shot. I was like, already,
Yeah.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then,
So-
picking out the costumes and then,
Right.
rehearsing with the actors because, you don't have a bigger scripts, right? So you have to fill in the blanks and explain to them what happened before and after the scene. But they're used to that, right? They're used to picking up scenes and doing it for auditions anyway. So for them, it's okay as long as they know what this is actually about. So I made up a story and I gave a treatment to them that was like a few pages long that explained what was happening. So they
you did something super clever too. It's like, with all these scenes, you want to kind of like get in and get out as far as like, without having too much of a description, show don't tell. And you did that. It's like, it's just,
I like those kinds of stories. Yeah. That's what turns me on. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I agree. It's super cool. And you can tell what kind of filmmakers you like, what kind of storylines you like.
Mhm.
And it's just like, it ends at the perfect time. Do you feel like with a long form, it becomes harder to do that? Or do you feel like short form has a life of its own and, long form kind of also has its own obstacles and has its own kind of dilemmas?
If you're doing like a 10 to 15 minute short film, the amount of energy you put into that is pretty close to a feature. It's closer than not doing anything at all. Right. So it's actually pretty close. You expend a lot of energy to get that 10 to 15 minute done and without any discernible way of recouping anything in the end from it. Right. So it's a year-long process. It's heartache and pain, and it'll probably never sell. Right. Like you just have to be okay with that.
Right.
You have to try to break even by finding some kind of platform. Hopefully it's good. And if it's really good, then not only will film festivals want it, but maybe some services, like some of the YouTube channels or now streaming services are picking up shorts as well, that you could monetize it somehow and recoup your money. Hopefully you didn't spend too much. Maybe, if you spend 10 to 20 to 30K, it's good for a short film. But when you do a feature, the energy is very similar. So you still have to have a story that has a beginning, middle, end. You still have to think about your characters. It's just a longer process.
Right.
It's the same thing.
More money.
Yeah, well, it's more money, more time, but it's the same thing. So if you're not able to tell a short story, it's hard to do a long one. But now that I've had a lot of practice doing short stuff, I'm determined to do a feature. So I'm working on a feature film right now.
That's amazing.
And I want to shoot overseas in India. That's going to be a period piece set in 1965, and it's an amateur detective story. And it's based on an incident that really happened in my family. My dad's older cousin, when he was young in 1963, went missing and then ended up being turned up dead, murdered.
Wow.
In her mystery of how she got to this farm field next to a well, poisoned without her jewelry, to this day remains unsolved. And my story is about an amateur detective story about solving this murder case. And I just went to India recently and I spent 5 weeks there, did, like an advanced scout of kind of trying to get inspiration of locations, the lay of the land, the politics of the land at the time, and stuff like that. Because I had this story in mind and I wrote it down 12 years ago, but now I'm actually developing it. So I've written out the outline. I have treatments being finessed right now and worked on, working on the script as well, wrote a bunch of pages, going back and re-editing, stuff like that, and then trying to get this whole thing together. And it's the same as like the shorts, is like you have to be able to read it on the page and go, okay, yes, this makes sense. I can do this. It'll work. I can get the emotions through. I can work with the actors to get what I want. And then we could pull it off. Like, I'm never worried about pulling it off, because if you know movie magic, then you could figure out a million ways to pull something off. I always tell film students this, like, you should never worry, like when you're writing a script, about what location you have. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. You could have any location you want. It's just a matter of being clever. You want to put me in a jail answering a phone, I just need to have the phone on a wall.
We don't want to put you in a jail because we want you behind the camera telling stories.
I'm just saying, like, if it's in a movie and you want to put me in a jail situation answering a phone, I can do that with just a phone on a wall. You don't need the rest. You could just get costumes, have someone walk in front of the frame, have the right sound effects and sound design and the green colored lighting, and you've already sold it. So you can go to your school where you have a payphone on the wall that no one's using and shoot it over there. So, you always got to think about how the story works and how the characters grow and what you're learning as an audience. And then the thing about studying filmmakers is then you can actually ape stuff where you understand storytelling better by understanding how they did it. Right. So one of my favorite references for this particular movie is Memories of a Murder, which is a Korean film. The same director that did Parasite and Mother and Snowpiercer and so many wonderful films. He's amazing. This is one of the earlier projects. It's so good. And the way that the story moves, and it's also based on a true incident, unsolved murder of young women in the countryside in Korea. It handles the subject matter really well. It moves really, really nicely. And it's a good inspiration. So I would say my best thing right now is to study what other people are doing, continue working on getting the script perfect, and then I can pull this feature off. And I know that the execution part I can do. So it's really just putting the blueprints together. And I think that's the thing to pay attention to, is that all these projects I do, there's a lot of blueprints, a lot of shot lists.
Well, on that note, we're running out of time. We got to sign out real quick. But where can people find you if they want to see more of your work or hire you as a director, a writer, a producer, any of the above? I think it's fearlessproductions.tv. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's the best place. My website has a contact page, so you can contact me there. And certainly if you're on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn, Facebook, just look for Fearless Productions TV.
Snehal, thank you so much for being a guest on Wake Up Hollywood. You have an open door to showcase any of your work on this show because we're fans, man, and we just think the world of you, and you're just a great cat and super talented, and we look forward to many more stories that you're going to tell, and I look forward to this new feature that you're going to do too. So on behalf of Sam, myself, and Snehal, we'll see you guys next week. Peace, love, take care of yourself, take care of each other.
You're listening to Wake Up Hollywood with Nikki Korula and Eddie Pence, right here on LA Talk Radio.